Hello, and welcome. Find a comfortable position, let your body settle, and allow your mind to grow quiet. Tonight we journey back in time to the dense green jungles of Mesoamerica. We will explore the quiet mysteries of the ancient Maya civilization, one gentle fact at a time. There is nothing you need to do, nothing to remember. Just listen to the sound of my voice, and let these stories from a world long past guide you into a deep and peaceful sleep. Breathe in and out. Let's begin. The Maya were never a single unified empire ruled by one emperor. Instead, their world was a complex tapestry of independent city-states. Imagine great cities like Tikal, Calakmul, and Palenque, each with its own king, its own court, and its own traditions. These cities were connected by alliances, trade, and sometimes conflict, but each was a world unto itself, a shining jewel of culture and power, nestled deep within the endless green of the jungle. The foundation of Maya life and diet rested on three sacred crops, known as the Three Sisters. These were maize or corn, beans, and squash. Planted together, they helped one another thrive. The tall corn stalks provided a natural trellis for the beans to climb. The beans, in turn, enriched the soil with nitrogen, and the broad, sprawling leaves of the squash plant shaded the ground, preserving moisture and preventing weeds, a perfect, ancient harmony. Long before many other cultures, the Maya understood the mathematical concept of zero. They represented it with a stylized shell glyph. This was a monumental intellectual leap, allowing them to create a sophisticated positional number system. It enabled them to calculate vast sums and track immense cycles of time, reaching deep into the past and far, far into the future. The Maya developed one of the most complex and beautiful writing systems in the ancient world. Their script was a combination of logograms, which represent whole words, and syllabograms, which represent sounds. These intricate glyphs were carved into stone monuments, painted on pottery, and written in screenfold books called codices, preserving their history, mythology, and astronomical knowledge. The Yucatan Peninsula has very few surface rivers. The Maya relied on natural sinkholes in the limestone bedrock, called cenotes, for their fresh water. But these were more than just wells. They were considered sacred portals to the underworld, known as Xibalba. The Maya would make offerings at these deep, tranquil pools, believing they were communicating with the gods. The Maya were master astronomers and timekeepers. They used several calendars, but the most grand was the long count. This calendar tracked time in a continuous linear fashion from a mythical creation date. It was used to record historical events with incredible precision, anchoring their history in a vast cosmic cycle. It wasn't a prediction of the end, but a way to measure the immense river of time. For the Maya, the beans of the cacao tree were more valuable than gold. They were used as a form of currency in their bustling markets. A single tamale might cost 1 bean, while a rabbit could cost 10. Cacao was also used to create a bitter, frothy, and sacred chocolate drink, often spiced with chili, which was reserved for royalty in special ceremonies. Connecting their major cities, ceremonial centers, and even quarries were remarkable roads called Sac-Beab, which means white roads. These raised causeways were paved with crushed white limestone, which reflected the moonlight, making them navigable even after dark. They stretched for miles through the difficult jungle terrain, a testament to Maya engineering and organization. The Maya created a unique and remarkably resilient pigment known as Maya blue. It's a vibrant turquoise-like color made by bonding indigo dye with a special type of clay. This pigment was incredibly durable, resisting centuries of sun and tropical rain. We can still see its vivid hue today on ancient murals and pottery, a splash of brilliant color that has defied time. The jaguar, the largest and most powerful feline in the Americas, held a place of deep reverence in the Maya world. It was a symbol of power, ferocity, and royalty. The jaguar god was associated with the night, the underworld, and warfare. Kings and warriors would often wear jaguar pelts and adorn themselves with jaguar imagery to project their strength and divine connection. Among the Maya elite, a high, elongated, and sloping forehead was considered a sign of beauty and status. To achieve this look, a newborn infant's head would be gently bound between two wooden boards for the first few days of life, while the skull was still soft. This practice, known as artificial cranial deformation, was a way to signify their noble birth and connection to the gods. The Maya built special structures to observe the heavens with remarkable accuracy. Buildings like the cacao at Chichen Itza were designed with windows and doorways that aligned perfectly with the rising and setting of Venus, the sun at the solstices, and other celestial events. From these quiet places, priest astronomers would watch the sky, tracking the cycles that governed their world. The Maya practiced a form of purification in special structures called temazcal, or sweat baths. These were small enclosed stone rooms where water was poured over hot rocks to create a dense steam. The sweat bath was used for spiritual cleansing, healing, and for women before and after childbirth. It was a place of ritual rebirth and renewal. In Maya cosmology, the universe was centered around a great world tree, or Kaba tree, called the Wakachan. Its roots reached deep into the underworld. Its trunk stood in the earthly realm, and its branches extended high into the heavens. It was the axis of the cosmos, connecting all three planes of existence and allowing spirits and gods to travel between them. One of the most astonishing facts about the grand Maya pyramids and temples is that they were built without the use of metal tools. The Maya did not have iron or steel. Instead, they used tools made of harder stone, like flint and obsidian, as well as wood and bone. Their incredible architectural feats were achieved through immense patience, skill, and sheer human effort. The Maya wrote thousands of books, called codices, on paper made from the bark of the fig tree. These books contain centuries of their knowledge in astronomy, history, and religion. Tragically, in the 16th century, Spanish conquerors ordered them all to be burned, believing them to be works of idolatry. Today, only 4 of these precious books are known to have survived. Jade was the most precious substance to the Maya, more valuable than gold. Its green color was associated with water, vegetation, and life itself. It was a symbol of breath, soul, and fertility. Kings and nobles were adorned with intricate jade jewelry, and upon their death, a jade bead was often placed in their mouth to represent the eternal spirit. The Maya played an intense and sacred ball game called pakatak. Players would try to hit a heavy, solid rubber ball through a high stone hoop using only their hips, thighs, and sometimes their forearms. The game was more than just a sport. It was a ritual reenactment of cosmic battles from Maya mythology, often with high stakes for the players. In cities like Cacao, which lacked natural water sources, the Maya engineered vast systems of reservoirs and canals to capture and store rainwater. They paved large plazas with sloped plaster floors that channeled the runoff into these man-made reservoirs. This allowed them to support large urban populations through the long dry seasons. The Popol Vuh, or Book of the People, is the creation story of the Quiche Maya. Transcribed in the 16th century, it preserves their ancient narratives. It tells of the gods' attempts to create humanity, first from mud, then from wood, and finally, successfully, from maize. It is a beautiful epic of heroes, gods, and the origins of the world. The Maya were skilled beekeepers, cultivating a native species of stingless bee. Honey was an important part of their diet and was also used to make a fermented alcoholic drink similar to mead. The bee was a sacred creature associated with a god named Amuzen-Cab. Around the 9th century AD, many of the great Maya cities in the southern lowlands were mysteriously abandoned. This is known as the classic Maya collapse. There is no single accepted reason, but scholars believe it was a combination of factors: prolonged drought, endemic warfare, disease, and environmental degradation. The great stone cities were slowly, quietly reclaimed by the jungle. The Maya civilization never truly vanished. Today, more than 6 million Maya people live in their ancestral homelands in Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. They speak dozens of distinct Mayan languages and continue to preserve their unique cultural traditions, weaving ancient beliefs with modern life, a living link to their incredible past. Despite their mathematical and engineering genius, the Maya did not use the wheel for transportation or labor. While wheeled objects have been found in the form of toys, they never scaled up the concept for practical use. All of their immense stone structures and goods were transported over long distances using sheer human power, on foot or by canoe. Many Maya pyramids were adorned with enormous, elaborate masks modeled from stucco, a type of plaster. These masks, often flanking stairways, depicted the faces of gods or deified ancestors. They were once painted in brilliant colors, reds, blues, and yellows, making the temples vibrant and imposing centers of religious power. The Maya used a vigesimal, or base 20, number system, likely developed from counting on both fingers and toes. Their numbers were written using a simple system of dots and bars. A dot represented 1, a bar represented 5, and a shell represented 0. This elegant system allowed them to easily write very large numbers and perform complex calculations. In swampy lowland areas, the Maya developed an ingenious farming technique. They would create elevated fields of soil, separated by a grid of irrigation canals. This protected crops from flooding during the rainy season and provided a steady source of water during dry spells. The canals also became home to fish, and their nutrient-rich mud was used to fertilize the fields. Just as cenotes were portals to the underworld, so too were caves. The Maya believed caves were the homes of many important gods, especially those of rain, fertility, and the earth itself. They would venture deep into these dark, subterranean realms to perform sacred rituals, leaving behind offerings of pottery and other precious items. The Maya intertwined two main calendars to guide their daily life. The Hab was a 365-day solar calendar used for agriculture. The Tzolk'in was a sacred 260-day calendar used for divination and scheduling ceremonies. These two calendars ran together like interlocking gears, returning to the same starting point only once every 52 years. While we see their cities as weathered gray stone today, the Maya world was once awash in brilliant color. Their temples, palaces, and even their homes were painted with vibrant murals. Red, made from iron oxides, was a particularly sacred color, often used to cover entire buildings, symbolizing life blood, and divine energy. Salt was a vital commodity for the ancient Maya, used for preserving food and for ritual purposes. In coastal areas, they developed extensive salt works, channeling seawater into shallow pools and allowing the sun to evaporate the water, leaving behind pure salt crystals. This salt was then traded far inland, becoming a source of great wealth. Maize or corn was so central to Maya life that it had its own deity, the tonsured maize god. He is always depicted as a youthful, handsome being, often with an elongated head, shaped like an ear of corn and hair like corn silk. He represented the cycle of agriculture, of death and rebirth, as the corn is planted, grows, and is harvested to sustain life. Maya cities were not just stone and plaster. They were green spaces. The Maya practiced intensive urban and suburban gardening, cultivating fruit trees like avocado and papaya, as well as medicinal herbs and flowers, in kitchen gardens right next to their homes. Their cities were a blend of architecture and agriculture, living, breathing spaces. Scribes were highly respected members of Maya society, often sons of the ruling elite. To be a scribe was to be a keeper of sacred knowledge. They were skilled artists and calligraphers, mastering the hundreds of complex hieroglyphs. They recorded the deeds of kings, the movements of the stars, and the stories of the gods, ensuring that their culture would endure. For hunting and warfare, the Maya used a device called an atlatl. It was essentially a piece of wood, with a handle at one end and a hook at the other, that held the end of a spear or dart. By using the atlatl, a warrior could launch a spear with much greater force and velocity than by hand alone, making it a formidable weapon. Chak was one of the most important and widely revered Maya gods. He was the god of rain, lightning, and storms, often depicted with a curling snout, large eyes, and carrying a lightning axe. He was a vital deity in a land that depended on seasonal rains for its survival. Ceremonies to honor and appease Chak were a constant and critical part of Maya life. The Maya prized obsidian, a black volcanic glass, for its incredible sharpness. By using a technique called pressure flaking, they could craft blades and points with a cutting edge that was many times sharper than a modern surgical scalpel. These beautiful, glassy tools were used for everything from daily tasks to sacred bloodletting rituals. Tikal was one of the most powerful and long-lived Maya cities. At its height, its urban core covered about 16 square kilometers and was home to thousands of structures. Its skyline was dominated by 6 massive temple pyramids, the tallest of which, Temple 4, rises over 65 meters from the jungle floor, offering a breathtaking view above the canopy. Even for Maya cities located far inland, marine life played an important symbolic and economic role. Shells, especially the thorny oyster, were highly prized and traded over long distances. They were used to make jewelry, trumpets, and offerings. Marine motifs like fish and seashells appear frequently in their art, connecting them to the distant life-giving sea. The supreme ruler of a Maya city-state held the title of Ahau, meaning lord, king, or ruler. The Ahau was not just a political leader, but also a high priest, a spiritual intermediary between the human world and the realm of the gods. Their life was one of immense privilege and profound ritual responsibility. Maya kings were often buried in elaborate tombs deep within their pyramids. The most famous is the tomb of Pakal the Great at Palenque. His sarcophagus was covered by an immense, intricately carved lid, and his body was adorned with a stunning jade mosaic death mask, ensuring his safe passage and rebirth in the underworld. The deity Kukulkan known to the Aztecs as Quetzalcoatl, was a powerful feathered serpent god. He was associated with the sky, with wind, and with learning. This deity, a blend of a bird and a snake, represents the duality of the heavens and the earth, a bridge between the two realms. Maya astronomers had a special fascination with the planet Venus. They tracked its cycle with incredible accuracy, knowing it appeared as both the morning star and the evening star. They recorded its movements in their codices, believing its cycle was linked to warfare and important state events. The Maya erected large carved stone slabs called stelae in the plazas of their cities. These monuments were often paired with round stone altars. The stelae were covered in hieroglyphic text and intricate portraits of their rulers, recording their lineage, key dates, and major accomplishments like battles or building projects. They were the public history books of the Maya. The Maya possessed a deep knowledge of the medicinal properties of the plants in their jungle environment. Healers, or Amen, used hundreds of different plants, seeds, and roots to treat a wide range of ailments. This knowledge was combined with ritual and prayer, as they believed that sickness had both a physical and a spiritual cause. Deep in the Maya pantheon was Camazotz, the powerful and feared bat god. Associated with night, death, and sacrifice, he ruled over the dark caves that were seen as passages to the underworld. While imposing, he was a key figure in the cosmic order, representing the darkness that must precede the dawn. Maya women were, and still are, master weavers. Using backstrap looms, they create incredibly intricate and beautiful textiles. Each community has its own distinct patterns and styles, a visual language woven into their clothing that communicates their identity, marital status, and worldview. The patterns are a form of living history, passed down from mother to daughter. The final truth of the Maya is that their story has no end. Their pyramids may be ruins, and their great kings may be history, but their people, their languages, and their deep connection to the land endure. The Maya world is not a lost world. It is a world that has changed, adapted, and continues to thrive in the heart of Mesoamerica. It is a story still being written. And now, our journey through the world of the Maya comes to a quiet close. Let these stories of stone and stars, of jungle and jade, settle around you like a soft blanket. There is nothing more to learn, nothing more to do. Just the gentle rhythm of your own breath, carrying you now into a deep and restful sleep. Sleep well.